Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda and this is Confidence Mindset with Amanda. In this video, I want to talk about the importance of repetition when it comes to manifestation. So I'm going to use the example of the Karate Kid because I watched the Karate Kid over the weekend, and when I was watching it, I felt like, this is kind of the process of manifestation. And so as we all know, anyone who has watched the Karate Kid knows that when Mr. Miyagi is teaching Daniel the moves. He gives him all these household chores for, to get the movements into his body. And so after a few days, Daniel gets frustrated and he starts, reacting to Mr. Miyagi giving him all these chores and why he's not learning karate. Now, anyone who has watched The Karate Kid will know that Mr. Miyagi then asks Daniel to show him, painting the fence, wax on and wax off on the car, sanding the floor. And Daniel doesn't understand why he's asking him that. But when he does that, he makes him move his hands, and Daniel's still in disbelief. But when Mr. Miyagi actually goes to, project karate moves onto him, Daniel unconsciously knows how to defend himself in every single move all over his body. And this is what I mean when I say repetition is so important when we are rewiring the thoughts within our brain, because we are, when we're saying these affirmations, we are not alone just manifesting what it is that we want, but we want to maintain the manifestations that we get in our life, and we maintain them by becoming them as well too. So if you are manifesting for a relationship, or you're going to be using affirmations that imply that you are in a loving, healthy relationships, but also you're going to be using affirmations about yourself. I am love. I am, beautiful. I am such an amazing partner. You're going to be using these affirmations, and you're going to be becoming the person who is in the relationship, if you understand what I'm saying. So, because then, it's the same with money as well too. It's like, yes, we can say I am rich, but we also want to be incorporating things about, why we are rich. Like, I'm rich because I am worthy and deserving of an abundance of money coming to me every single day. I'm rich because I am worthy and deserving of having food on my table. I deserve to have food on my table. I deserve to have my bills paid. These type of affirmations that are building our confidence and building our mindset within. And so this is what I believe, in the Karate Kid was a great example, because Mr. Miyagi was building that confidence within Daniel, without him even knowing it. And so this is what I say then, the repetition. After we repeat something over a period of time, typically within 21 days, it starts to become a real ingrained belief. It can become a belief quicker if you are robotically affirming, because I really believe that there's no other way to manifestation but really just changing your thoughts. I don't think there's any techniques. Obviously we sit down and we do meditations to focus our mind on the thought. Obviously it's all about changing our attention, and it's all about believing in, we don't have to believe in it before it shows up, but it's all about getting our subconscious mind to accept that this is the way that it is. I really believe that it's just about getting the thoughts right, and I really believe that you don't have to be positive 24/7. I don't think you have to be sitting there in a high vibration frequency, letting go of your desire, and I don't believe that you have to be, just letting it all just be all up to the universe or whatever. I just believe that what you have to do is change the story in your mind, and when you do this over a period of time, you actually just become an unknown to yourself, and this is when everything starts reflecting in your reality. Things start showing up before you even believe it, as I say, because you're unconsciously, just like Daniel in the Karate Kid. He didn't believe he was going to be able to defend himself in that moment. He was given out to Mr. Miyagi because he thought he wasn't learning karate, but he was unconsciously learning it, and so he was able to defend himself in the moment. So do you see what I'm saying here? We are reprogramming the subconscious through our conscious thoughts, obviously, because we're becoming aware of what it is that we're thinking. But it really is all boiling down to programming our subconscious mind. And so, yes, of course, we can manifest things into our life quicker if we're in a relaxed state of being. This is why I suppose people do convey the idea of high frequency and vibration, becoming vibrational matches and that, because obviously even Dr. Joe Dispenza does say that when you get into that, they have done, they've done scientific experiments on it. When you get into that meditative state and you're operating from that kind of higher frequency, love, which is the highest frequency, you're kind of able to manifest things quicker. But it's not always the case. Like, when we are affirming for things, we're repeating it in our mind, because we've been living an old story for so long, and so this is all we really know. When we get up in the morning, the first thing we start to think about is the day before, or things that have happened. And this is where we want to be changing and programming our mind. And so we are so used to living in the past that sometimes it's kind of harder to get into the future, and repetition of thought helps us get into the future. And that's just the way that it is. And I know I understand when we're out there teaching manifestation and all that, but if we could all just look at manifestation as simply just rewiring the program in our mind, rewiring the subconscious mind. The best way to do this, I think, as well too, is sleeping with affirmations on at night, because your subconscious mind is wide awake but you're asleep, and so all these affirmations are going into your mind when you are asleep. Also, as well too, I do recommend as well making an audio tape with your affirmations, and then you can listen to the affirmations really low throughout the day, if you want as well too, because it's all about getting the rewiring, the program into your subconscious mind. Yes, we can do meditations and we can operate from this high vibe frequency and all of that kind of thing, but it's not even about being like that all of the time. I mean, we're going to have days where we're not going to be positive. We're going to have days where we're going to react, because we're human. We're living in a world where, a 3D world where when it's not aligned with what we want, we can find sometimes we do react to it. And look at, I mean, we're all human, and all the greatest thing that we do then in these moments is accepting and forgiving ourselves and saying, you know what, I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to overcome this environment. I'm going to overcome this circumstance, and keep going. And this is what the idea of persistence is. It's not about being positive 24/7. It's not about affirm robotically every single second of your day. It's about persisting even on the days when it's hard. When you fall down and you are needing to nurture yourself, you nurture yourself, but you pick yourself back up and you forgive yourself, and you say to yourself, look, I am going to overcome this. I am going to overcome these circumstances, and you pick yourself back up, and then you get back on your affirmations and that. So don't confuse persistence with sitting there all day and then feeling upset or whatever because you had a negative thought. That's not the way that manifestation is. Manifestation, from my perspective anyway, like the way that it has worked for me anyway, was simply changing the thoughts and working on my mindset. And I have manifested things quicker when I was obviously in a love vibration, love frequency. I do meditate, and I meditate on my chakras. I did do a video on that because I like that feeling. I love feeling that wholeness within me, and I get that wholeness within me from meditation, but I get that wholeness with me from redirecting my thoughts as well too. And sometimes if I'm having a day where I'm feeling that I'm not really fully on my mental diet, I will robotically affirm in my mind, and I will keep a thought in my mind, even if it's just one and it's nothing to do with my manifestation. I do normally jump to things like only my positive thoughts create, only my positive thoughts create, just to keep that rewiring in my mind. And it's because that helps me with my manifestations, and it helps me to live in my life, because it's about, for me anyway, like I think that all of this is a personal development process to becoming what it is that you want to experience. But also then, because you are becoming what it is that you want to experience, you are maintaining it in your life, and you are able to maintain and successfully thrive in every area of your life, because you know how to train your mind and body to overcome everything and to accept the days that are bad, knowing that they're just human experiences and that they're going to change, because change is the only constant. Knowing that everything is possible, and that the more you tell your mind this, it's like I think I heard Dr. Joe Dispenza say that when you continue to tell your mind this thing, there's a neuron or something that switches on in your brain, and it starts to accept that this is going to be a possibility for you, and that's what we're doing. And so when it comes to manifesting, I really believe that everything just boils down to the thought. Just like Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid was teaching Daniel, he was teaching them to become become a master at it, because he was telling them, up and down, up and down, up and down. But this is a thought that Daniel was putting into his mind repetitively throughout the day. How long it took him to paint the fence, all he was doing in his mind was up and down and up and down. This was the thought in his mind, going into his subconscious mind repetitively, and then training his body to become that master at karate. So I wanted to make a quick video on that. Remember, when it comes to manifestation, yes, we can get there quicker, I believe, by being at a high frequency of love. But to get into that high frequency as well too, we also want to be operating from it. We also want to be believing in ourselves and feeling confident in ourselves. And look, we're going to have days where where we're not going to be feeling like that. And so sometimes it's better to just, for some people or whatever, to just robotically affirm if you feel like that's good as well too. I really don't think that there's any specific way to manifest than other than changing the thoughts in our brain, creating a new story and sticking to the new story no matter what. Because once you start to do that, you, as I say, you're embodying the state. And Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this as well too. When he is on about his meditations, he talks about getting into the meditation, but when you come out of the meditation, you have to also embody the state of what the intention was that you set out into the universe or whatever. So if you have to embody the state, well then you're going to have to be you're going to have to do some sort of repetition to become that kind of state of what it is that you are manifesting. And repetition is thought. Everything is created by thought. Everything that we repeat comes from our thoughts. And so it's all about redirecting our thoughts, picking ourselves up on the bad days, overcoming our bad days, overcoming our circumstances. I mean, look at when you if anybody follows Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's loads of videos up there on YouTube, but a lot of his meditations are done on healing. He has people coming in who are suffering with illnesses, and they're coming out of it then from the meditation. So when they're in their meditation state, this is taking them obviously in that kind of moment for that few minutes, whatever, 15, 20 minutes, hour. I don't really know how long it is that they go into that state. But when they come out of that meditation, I'm sure they're having, days where it's really hard and they're struggling, but then they repetitively go back into the meditation. So it's like they're training their body to come out of it, overcoming the environment, overcoming the circumstances. And this is what we are doing through our thoughts, because if we have to have the thought to sit down and meditate. Everything is coming from our thoughts. And I really believe that if we get this kind of message out to everybody, that this is how everything will kind of change. This is how everything will, is changing in your reality because of the thought. Because we are human, and when things are not going our way, we do have a tendency to get frustrated. If we don't see what we want in the 3D reality straight away, we feel like we're not getting things right. But that's not the case. There's always movement behind the scenes, and there's always movement behind the scenes, as I say, is because you are reprogramming your subconscious mind. And every time you overcome the old story, you're telling your subconscious mind that this is the way that it is. And so it's really all about overcoming every circumstance, every environment, no matter how hard it is or how impossible you seem to think that things are. They always change. It will always change once you persist. It's like, an athlete. I mean, they're out there training every single day. I mean, a soccer player gets out onto the pitch and scores a goal in that split second of scoring a goal. But I mean, he doesn't just get out and score the goal by not training. Of course, if we look back to George Best, I'm sure he might be an exception. But I'm sure he trained as well too. But he was just such a great footballer that he just probably didn't need to train. But we do have a lot of people. We look at Ronaldo there. His work ethic is all about why he's such a great footballer, or why he's had such a successful career. It's all about his work ethic. But if you watch Ronaldo, it will always be about his mind. Like I seen him in an interview as well, and he was asked about Messi, and he said, about Messi being the best footballer in the world, and he said, that might be an opinion, but it's not a fact. And that's a great way to be. Things in our 3D reality may be opinion, but they're only a fact if we make it a fact. So this is what we have to do when we're redirecting our mind, and understanding that everything comes from our thoughts when we're manifesting. Work on the mindset. It's a great way to release resistance, yeah, but we don't have as many intrusive thoughts when we're affirming for what it is that when we're consciously affirming for what it is that we want. And so we're able to kind of stick to our mental diet a lot quicker. So I hope this video helps for anyone who's wanting to get into the kind of understanding of the repetition and what persistent is when it comes to manifesting. It's all about just our thoughts, keeping our thoughts in check. And it really doesn't matter how we're feeling, or any of these things don't really matter at the end of the day. Of course, things can come in quicker if we're feeling good, because when we're feeling good, we're believing in ourselves more, and then when we believe in ourselves more, obviously things can come in quicker. But however, this can be harder for some people, and so some people just may need to repeat a little bit longer, and that's okay, because everything is always yours, and it's always going to be there, and everything will always manifest once you keep going and you continue to believe in yourself. So like and subscribe if you wish. If you have any comments, please comment down below. Thank you so much for all your support, and I will chat to you soon.